We are live, the B.S.ing with the Guys show. We lot of crazy shit going on this week. A lot of news, headlines. Making headlines here across the damn world. Really, a few of them we're going to talk about. We got them 2 National Guardsmen, of course. They were shot by some fucking lunatic in D.C. Woman on trial for screaming racial slurs at a child. We got 2 Texas men that were indicted for this crazy ass plot to invade an island. We're going to talk about that. That Derek Chauvin back in the news. Of course, I'm sure y'all remember him, the one that was, convicted of murder on George Floyd. Back in the news, we got a New York man defending himself with a pistol, shot the guy. I think he killed him, actually. Now he's going to prison, and we'll talk about why. And people dying after having what stuck up their where? That's going to be the most interesting topic tonight. I see it coming already. So let's get into it. Anyway, yeah, man, big news. I'm sure you've seen it, as everybody has, man, with that shooting that took place, the National Guardsmen. A lot of conflicting stories. I think they're still alive, if I'm not mistaken. They're just in critical.
That the naked guy? The National Guardsmen are still alive. Oh.
Yeah, that was the naked guy, the one that they had on that gurney.
Yeah, that was him.
Yeah, that was the one who shot him. Yeah, he just opened fire on him, man, with a pistol. Came from around the corner, they said, and decided to pop a couple rounds into these guys. And like I said, I've seen conflicting stories. Some people telling rest in peace, but then they're, the FBI's saying that they're in critical condition. So I don't think, they've passed. I think they're in the hospitals right now.
So are they releasing information? So I'm asking because when I read it earlier today, when I first saw it, they were basically saying that there was a confidential, source telling the AP that it was National Guard that had gotten shot, but local authorities and federal authorities wouldn't give the news any information. Like they hadn't even confirmed that it was National Guard,
No, they gave it all out, man. It was, there was 2 West Virginia National Guardsmen. They want to say it was a little bit after 2:00 today. They young people, man, their early 20s. They were on post near 17th and Pennsylvania Avenue, which is just blocks away from the White House.
Right.
And they were talking about, without a warning, basically this lone gunman walked up, opened fire, just a deliberate ambush. They're saying both soldiers were hit multiple times in the chest and abdomen. Now, there were stories at first saying that they returned fire and hit the guy. And then I'm reading later on that law enforcement source in D.C. is saying that an unarmed guardsman used a knife to stab the suspect.
Jesus.
So it's like, and it's coming from a reliable source,
Yeah.
And didn't that happen not too long ago, where these base was fired upon, and these people, they didn't have firearms to protect themselves?
Yeah,
right?
We talked about that because you just can't have the firearms on Army bases,
Yeah, and I'm thinking, what were they doing out there patrolling in D.C.
right
with no firearm? If that's the facts of the case, which is, like I said, everything's kind of breaking right now, and it's still, it's so fresh right now. Things are just kind of flying out, of people's mouths and shit on X right now. But supposedly they stabbed them, where, like I said, first reports was they shot him. So,
but he just Rambo'd out.
Yeah, and he's fine. He's in the hospital too. But I know Trump said they're going to come down with full extent of the law on that asshole, and I'm like, yeah, I feel sorry for him right now. Because they not going to play behind that shit. But what's up, Matt? But anyway, they, of course, in other reports, he was yelling Allah Akbar. You can see he was, they said he was in the country on a visa that was expired from Afghanistan.
That's what I had read.
Right. And he kind of made that move over here when Biden was just, basically allowing anybody and everybody to come over. And so apparently he was a little radicalized, and decided that, it was in his best interest to go try to take out some of our National Guardsmen. Now, I guess the biggest problem is, you got weeks of public figures and media outlets that, start branding these guys as Nazis and thugs, meaning the National Guardsmen, like they're tools of tyranny, ready to shoot civilians. So when you hear that kind of talk, it's the same thing that led to the Charlie Kirk incident.
Yep, the Charlie
If you
Kirk incident, the Trump attempted assassinations, and
right,
we see it time and time again. Like,
yeah, and all coming from one side. You know what
yeah,
I mean? I don't understand when they're going to stop that shit, man. Because it's shedding blood just for, like you said, they start spouting out all these names and calling us all these, we're, like I said, we're evil, we're Nazis, we're just terrible, disgusting, evil people, to where you get some lunatic who thinks he's doing the right thing now, like he's
yeah,
doing some sort of justice for the country, by taking people out like Charlie Kirk and Trump and National Guardsmen. And no matter, I know there's conflicting things going on with the Charlie Kirk stuff still, but if you look at it like it was just cut and dry, just some fucking radicalized lunatic that decided it was the best idea to go and try to take him out, because I mean, look how the left painted Charlie Kirk for years,
yeah.
and
It makes you easy to shoot.
of course, when you dehumanize somebody, man, and then you see people get on there on X, like for instance from Joe Biden's account earlier. We want condolences to the families, and it's, for one, like, you let this animal over here that shot these people, and
Yeah,
for two, it's your side that won't shut the fuck up. You know what I mean? As far as pushing how evil the other side is.
yeah.
So it's like, I don't want to hear shit from them anymore.
No,
None.
no, no, not at all. Not because you just hear negative, 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 and then something like this happens, and then it's we completely we hate the violence, stop the violence, da da da. Ban the guns for one. And like we just said, like it's all that negative, name calling and fucking just trying to make the other side look evil that leads to this type of shit.
Yeah. Well, and they're doing a good job of it. And then they try to, like I said, they want to turn the other, do a total 180 when this shit happens, and act like they care, and give their little thoughts and their prayers. And it's like, you're pushing this. You're pushing this. They want this. You know what I mean? It's hard to believe they don't enjoy this, because they don't stop. And it'll start back up in a couple of days after this kind of dies down. They'll start up again. They'll find a new target, to start
Absolutely.
telling people how evil that, that group is. It's crazy, man. I don't know what you can do to stop that, because it's coming from the leaders of the country, these
Right.
politicians. So what do you do? I mean, what do you do? You can't shut them up. I mean,
No, you can't.
you could try to tune it out, but it's in your face every day, all day. It's
It really
nuts,
is
man.
everywhere you look. There's no getting away from it. Now, I don't know how. I know that citizens have freedom of speech. I don't know that public officials have that same right when they're working in an official duty to
Yeah,
just demonize a total
right.
population. I don't know that falls under your right as a citizen to say what you want, but
I get what you're saying too. They should be held to a higher standard.
absolutely.
I mean, and that's all there is to it. I mean, it's not saying take all their rights away, but when you're a lawmaker, a politician, or people that the citizens are supposed to be looking to for guidance, then you're right. You should be held to a different standard. And when you instigate shit like this, somebody should be held accountable. I
Yeah,
mean, I
and I
don't know
mean,
what you
even
do about it, but
yeah, because even myself as a citizen, like have the freedom of speech, but if I get online and start inciting violence against any group, like I'm probably gonna get at minimum a knock on my door,
no,
because you
that's
can't
true.
just
Like,
incite riots and
right.
violence, and you can't do that.
That's a very good point. Yeah, we can't run around as citizens doing that. I
No,
mean, we've seen it. People have been arrested for that shit before, as they should. I mean, it's
yeah,
you just can't run around, like you said, inciting violence, but yet they can get on X and
dude,
Instagram, TikTok, wherever they're at, all day, every day,
all day, every
preaching
day
to their
on there.
followers that
They can get in official press conferences and
yeah,
preach to
yeah.
their followers that the other side's evil, and it's all good, no problems.
It's what I mean. It's almost like it's wanted, this discourse in the country right now, and when it comes to blood being shed, they don't care, because they just continue to do it. It's nuts, man.
I
But
think it is. I think I think they do sit back and they want the divide and the hatred towards each other. And I mean,
And I get that,
fear.
like the political game, I get it. You know, you have to have sides, pitting against each other because if we were all living, in this one big happy bubble in the country, we wouldn't need these motherfuckers, and they know it.
No.
They'd be out of a job.
Yep.
So they have to keep it. So I get it from a business standpoint, but it doesn't have to get to where people are dying over it. You know what I mean? Just, I don't know, have us fighting over gay marriage or something, I mean, the regular old dumb shit. But when they start with the evilness, and they love that Nazi term, Nazi,
Yes.
Nazi, Nazi. Well, hell, who wouldn't want to take out a Nazi if you had the chance?
Exactly.
I mean, and not that a sane person is going to go do it because it's still illegal, but you have people that don't think right,
Obviously,
it's all it
we've
takes.
seen it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
right.
not speculation,
Right. Over and over. You're right. But anyway, this guy was a 29-year-old, so he was a young dude that decided to go pull this shit off, and I can't even pronounce his fucking name, but it's, he's an Afghan national, so I'm not even gonna give a fuck enough about him to try to pronounce that shit.
Yep. Fuck him and his name.
Yeah, exactly.
Why was he naked?
I don't know how that happened. Maybe they I know sometimes the paramedics will cut your clothes off and shit, if they're trying to assess wounds and shit, but I don't know why they stripped him totally butt naked.
In the middle of DC.
They should have did it and tied his ass to the back of the fucking ambulance and drug him down the fucking street. That's what they'd have done in a third world country. You know what I mean? They'd have fucking hog tied that son of a bitch and drug him to where everybody could the citizens could watch.
Yes,
throwing rocks and kicking and spitting and all that shit. You know what I mean? That's what needs to happen. Instead, they're going to sit there and feed this fucking dude for the rest of his life, in prison is what's going to happen.
He's about to get some free medical care.
Yeah, everything. Oh, he's going to be taken care of, man. Taken care of. Anyway. So I don't know. Hopefully them guys, I'm hoping what I'm reading is true, that they haven't passed. Like I said, I've seen conflicting stories. I know Elon was on there giving condolences and rest in peace and all, but then it's like, I don't think they died, So
yeah.
Anyway, this guy, you said he's a young dude. You look in the mirror. I know, but still, my point is, he was younger than 29, man. It's to have that on your mind, like you got the rest of your life ahead of you, and the best thing you can think to do is let me go slaughter a couple people. It's just such an odd way of thinking, and it's not like he's got the monopoly on that thinking. They got a lot of crazy people in the world, and it always intrigues me of how their mind works. Like you wake up the morning and you think, this is my course of action, and it's the best course of action I can take today. I don't get it, man. I mean, I guess there's a reason I don't get it, because then we'd all be fucking crazy like them, but I don't know. And like I said, hopefully they come down on this son of a bitch. I know Trump was saying it, so it's nuts. But biggest thing we can hope for, I guess, is that them guys do pull it out and wake up at least, because I know I'm sure they're not in great condition right now. It's a shame. They're supposed to be celebrating Thanksgiving and doing what normal people are doing, and now they're fighting for their damn lives because of some jackass.
I'm looking for.
What you digging for?
Fill us in. His name. He's the former CIA Kiriakou. What's his name? John Kiriakou. Have you seen any of this shit? He's former CIA and wound up going to prison for basically being a traitor and giving away secrets. Like he's the one that blew the whistle on the torture and shit.
Oh yeah.
On the advanced interrogation techniques or whatever they called it at the time.
Right.
But anyway, I saw a podcast episode.
Advanced interrogation techniques. Torture.
I get it,
yeah.
I saw a podcast episode with him today, basically talking about the bunker bombings that we did on Iran, and that he has some insight from some people, and basically Iran came to Trump and said, look, you need to bomb these bunkers, right? We have bunker busters. They don't. You need to bomb these bunkers and destroy them. If you don't, that's fine, but we will handle it ourselves with nuclear weapons. So basically he was kind of getting at, like, Trump may have prevented World War 3 by bombing the bunkers, but for one, we were threatened into nuclear military action against another country by another country, which is crazy in itself. And two, they've never, like, Israel has never fully admitted to us or admitted at all that they have nuclear weapons in the first place. So
Right.
that's two kind of crazy things that, if that's true, then there are big issues with what's happening, and what happened with that whole ordeal.
I think, and the bad thing is it's almost like everything, every kind of conflict or anything that we get caught up in, it's never just as cut and dry as what we say.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's kind of what you're explaining here. I mean, we're always finding excuses to get involved in some sort of conflict because it's a huge moneymaker. It's the same thing with the weapons of mass destruction back in the day.
Right.
That was never found. We wind up in these 20-year wars that are going on, all in the name of protecting America because people have nuclear weapons,
Yeah.
And then it's like, where, you know what I mean? And granted,
Right.
I mean, I don't want, you don't want any other crazy ass country to be having their hands on that shit, but
no, and I mean, from what he was saying, like the attack on Iran wasn't even to do with Iran, like it being a nuclear facility. Iran, just for whatever reason it may have been, they didn't want Iran to have those or Israel, sorry, didn't want Iran to have those bunkers. So they were going to take them out with nuclear weapons, which, again, they threatened us. And you kind of know where it leads. If one country uses nuclear power against another country, it just kind of spirals and snowballs and goes downhill from there, right? So it was a threat without being a threat.
Right.
That kind of forced our hand into blowing up Iran's bunkers, which, again, is nuts that we can be threatened into military action like that. Like, I just feel like at some point, it's like, look, you threat whatever the fuck you want, but if you do it, there's definitely going to be repercussions. Now, I don't know how you handle that, but I'm seeing Blue in the comments is saying it's not the first time Israel has threatened us like that. In the conflict with Egypt, they did the same threat. So apparently they wanted us to bomb Egypt, or they were going to drop nukes. Is that what I'm hearing, Blue?
I get so confused on what the whole Israel thing. You know what I mean? As far as with our government, how they're just, it's almost more pro-Israel than it is pro-America sometimes. And I'm not saying that's right or wrong because I'm too ignorant to the facts on all of that to really know, like, what is the big fucking deal? I mean, you know what I mean? Like,
I don't get it either.
It's anything for Israel. Anything. And if you say anything against it, then all of a sudden you're just you're a vicious person. You know what I mean? And I don't know. I hadn't done enough research to know exactly which way, because I see arguments for both sides, and it's like, well, who the fuck? I don't even know which way to lean on this shit,
Well, and it's like, why? Because I see it like you're saying, like it is just all Israel, pro-Israel, and a lot of the shit that happens, it kind of comes back that it leads to Israel and one form or another, right? But it's like, what? Either they have a lot of dirt or they're providing us with something. And
Sure.
I haven't heard anything that they're providing us with that's worthwhile in a sense of, being talked into military action and military funding and helping no matter what the consequences and making sure Israel is good, and if they're a close ally like that, then why are they so deceitful on whether or not they do or don't have nuclear weapons?
Gotta be a money trail, dude. Gotta be. Everything. Just, there's got to be a financial reason for it. You know what I mean? And I don't know how to pinpoint it, but it just seems like everything leads to more wealth, more power, more control. You know what I mean? It's weird. And like I said, I'm not knowledgeable enough on it. I wish we had somebody on here that could at least argue for the reason why we're so kiss Israel's ass. You know what I mean? And like I said, I'm not saying that we're wrong for people that think like that. I just don't know exactly why. I haven't heard anybody really convince me that this is who we need to be worried about more than us. You know what I mean? And
Absolutely.
It just seems like
I'm with you.
It just seems like it gets to that point sometimes. And,
because I hear the bitching on both sides, like you said, but I don't. It's such a long, I guess, history, and there's no like, let me research it for real quick. Let me do a Google search, and like, there's just so much information on the history behind it and people behind it that it's a lot to take in, So it's hard to tell whether it is a good thing and whether it isn't, and
Yeah, that's what I mean. Unless you really follow it or really dig into it deep, because some people think they have the answer, but then there'll be somebody else that will sit there and debate them on that answer and give their own answer, that, you know what I mean, to why they're wrong. So it goes back and forth, because there'll be people, watching and might even be in the comments that they think they know why we should or why we shouldn't. But like I said, then I can find somebody that'll just sit there and argue their point, a point against theirs. So where do you go with that? You know what I mean? Because there's somebody that's going to watch this or whether it be live or later on, that's going to be like, these fucking dummies, they should know this is why. But it's like, then I'll just go find somebody else that'll say, no, that guy's stupid. He don't know what the fuck he's talking about, Well,
that's what Mark Green says. He has the answer. He researches it extensively.
And that's fine. And he may, but there's somebody that will, argue everything he's saying. They'll argue against it and make good points. So that's what I mean. You get caught up in that, where it's like, I don't even know what to fucking think about all this shit. Let's just, how about United States first? We'll go from there.
I like it. We solved that crisis, so that's good. One problem taken care of tonight.
Well, it said it's dating back, to 1948, when the U.S. became the first country to recognize the alliance or whatever with Israel. I mean, a relationship has evolved through historical, strategic, cultural, and economic layers. Yeah, I like the economic part, money.
Always.
Providing the U.S. with tangible benefits while also reflecting domestic priorities. Below, they're going to outline why. Let's find out. The roots trace to the aftermath of World War II and the Holocaust, which, speaking of the Holocaust, real quick, there's a politician named Adolf Hitler that's set to win election in Southern Africa country over there. So it's a black guy named Adolf Hitler. So awesome. I don't know who the fuck would name their child that ever, but apparently there's another one running around, and he might be winning. So that's a little side note. But anyway,
that's another.
The Holocaust created a strong American sympathy for a Jewish homeland. Okay, I get it. President Harry Truman, let's see, Israel was influenced by the humanitarian place. So basically, it felt sorry for him back in the day and was like, yeah, we got you back, bro.
Okay.
Early U.S. policies also aimed for balance in the Middle East, but by the 1960s, after Israel's victories in the 1967 and 73 wars, Washington shifted decisively to bolster Israel's security to counter Soviet-backed Arab states during the Cold War. So that's another thing you get thrown into the mix, with the whole, how much we've been at odds with Russia and the Soviet Union, over the decades. So I guess that played, like it just said there, that plays a little part in it too, So that's what I mean. There's multiple things you can read into. Now, everything I just read, there's somebody else out there that will say that's bullshit. It's all bullshit. This is really what went on.
If you were to Google why is America's relationship with Israel bad? If you Googled that, right, you would get a whole different answer.
You're probably right. That's what I'm talking about. So people think they know. That's what I mean. I got people that, like, I call myself too ignorant on it. All I'm saying is I don't know, because I just I read both sides, and I'm like, I don't know how the fuck I'm supposed to feel about this.
Yeah, it's like they both instead of
sense. Instead of digging your heels in like some people do and say, no, you idiot, this is why, It's like I said, there's people that would listen, to what we're saying right now and say, these fucking guys are stupid. How do they not know this?
Yeah, it's just like, I feel like something that's a topic like that, like you would have to do research and then almost do research on the research that you did, right? To pull up exactly what is facts, because it's like, okay, I read 4 hours of an argument for this side, right? Well, now
Right.
there's, I mean, multiple layers of research you could go into on that to make sure that everything you read is facts. And it just,
Sure.
I don't know, it goes too deep
And
for me.
but then it's like, how do you determine facts? And that's with anything, not just this Israel stuff, but you're getting essentially what somebody's telling you anyway.
Yeah.
Whether you're reading it online or somebody's talking to you, all you're doing is getting what they're calling facts. You know what I mean? I still don't, that doesn't mean anything to me. I guess eventually you just have to sort of believe in some things. I mean, I guess you go your whole life not believing nothing. I mean, but if you really look at it like that, well, who's to say that? I mean, you're saying facts. Well, how do we know? You know what I mean? Like, you could research it all day long and you can keep, like you were saying, going back and forth and say, okay, let me research that point. Oh, wait, well, shit. Well, now let me research that point. And then you find something in that research and say, well, shit, let me research. And it never ends. It never ends.
We need a teacher, man. We need a fucking teacher.
Doesn't matter. I wouldn't believe him. Who the fuck does he know?
You're a liar.
Yeah. But on a different subject, man, what you think that this girl, now I know you saw the video a while back, Shiloh Hendricks, where she was hollering the N-word at that kid at the park that was stealing shit out of her child's diaper bag.
Yeah, that's the one that was on Give, Send, Go, right?
Right. Well, apparently, I didn't even realize, but apparently she was charged with disorderly conduct for that. For allegedly just using, I guess, mean words towards a black child, which I'm not condoning that, but is that or should that be illegal? You know what I mean? If that's what I don't know what else she would have been charged for, because you saw the whole video. She didn't hit nobody. She didn't do anything until the guy started antagonizing her that was recording her. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And whether you don't like the word she was using or not, that's a different argument. But
yeah, I don't know what they consider disorderly conduct wherever it happened at. Because, I mean, definitely we can agree morally wrong, right? Morally wrong.
Some of us can agree. Yeah,
I would think, yeah.
There's some that's like, fucked him up. But yeah, we'll agree on that.
I don't know what they would consider disorderly conduct, because, I mean, it's so hard to I guess get into that, because it's like, yes, you have a freedom of speech, but you're also not supposed to be able to destroy other people's, sanctuary on purpose,
Well, here's part of the problem. They said this was the initial police response. The Rochester Police Department, they received multiple calls about the video once it hit online. Now, they investigated it, but initially they classified it as just a verbal dispute because there was no physical assault, so there was no immediate arrest made. That should have been the end of it. That should have been the end. But because I guess there was such a big uproar in the community over there in Minnesota, of course, she was eventually charged with 3 misdemeanor counts of disorderly conduct. And I'm with you. It doesn't say exactly why. Like, her language created a public disturbance. What the fuck is that?
Yeah, because I mean, I will say, like, I used to watch a lot of Cops, right? Just Cops TV. Anyway.
Right.
And I've heard them before where somebody will be out there acting a fool while they're arresting somebody. And they're like, look, if you keep it up and you curse again, you're going for disorderly conduct, right?
Okay.
So they'll arrest them for disorderly conduct for, like, cussing in public, and which, I mean, I don't agree with, because, I mean, you and I were talking about it. It's just fucking words. Fuck off. But anyway. So I've seen people get arrested for yelling and causing a scene in public, basically, for disorderly conduct. And I'm kind of with that guy.
That's the comment I was looking at too, because it seems like it's true. Disorderly is a catch-all charge for when a cop is mad at you but has nothing on you. And this, to me, goes past the cop, because I think initially the cops are like, well, there's nothing here. But then the public outcry to where now the DA is looking at it like, well, we got to do something. Like, why? Why do you have to do something? You could simply tell people, look, there was no crime there. We don't agree with what she said, but there was no crime.
Because that seems like a really dangerous road to go down too.
Of course it is. That's kind of what I mean.
The public telling the cops, like, no, you're gonna arrest them on a crime, and it's like,
Well, because who's the
don't-
judge of what is disorderly as far as when you start, saying words are disorderly?
just
Well, then
however
who's
the
in
cop
charge
woke
of
up
that?
morning.
Right. It depends on what fucking town you live in, basically. Because
Yeah.
there's certain towns you can go in where she would have been celebrated. You know what I mean? And then you're in the wrong part of the country where you say the wrong word and now you're facing charge. Look, and it's nothing major. It's all misdemeanor shit. But I'm with you. It starts to be where you're on that thin line of freedom of speech and what you want to call, like words to me. It can't be a hate crime or anything. We can't go down that road. I mean, it's not like it's right to say certain things, but you do have a right to say them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's just how it should be. But if they're going to stick her with that, you know how many videos you watch every single day online where people are acting like that in public? And not just saying throwing the N-word around, but just anything you want to call disorderly. I mean, it's crazy, man. But
yeah,
I don't know. We'll see.
I'm kind of on the side of like, if you're not directly calling for an act of violence, say what you want.
Exactly. And that's how
now
it should
you
be.
may get punched in the mouth by another member of the public.
Thank you.
Hey, say what you want.
And look, and a lot of people would have had a problem with that. Say there was a lady in the park that didn't like how she was speaking to that child, and she went over there and slapped her in her fucking mouth. Well, she'd have probably had all the right in the world to do it because she was talking to a child like that.
Yeah.
But it's a difference between a legal issue, So I don't know. Like I said, it's not a big deal. It's not like the girl's going to prison or nothing, but it's just you start going down that little slippery slope, man, and that's what leads to now you got to watch what you say online. You say something that they don't like, next thing you know, they're knocking on your fucking door because you called somebody a name online, which is where they were trying to go on Twitter and all that shit until Elon got involved. I mean, they were getting bad with this shit in this country, man. At least the silencing people,
Again, you already see it in other, pretty decent from what I hear countries, as far as over in the UK and Germany and like people getting legit arrested for online words, and it's nuts. It really is. And I hope we never see the day where we really get down that slope here. But it wouldn't surprise me at the same time,
No. It's I don't know. Like I said, man, it's a place I don't want to go to, and it's there's certain things you just shouldn't say, like you said, from a moral standpoint. But when you start making that shit illegal, it's like, where are we living? Where are we living when you start that shit?
Yep.
So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But I don't think she's going to face any major consequences. It's going to be some kind of fine or some shit, And but I think she's made enough with the what is that?
Give, sing, go.
Give, sing, go. Yeah, she's made enough with that. She'll be able to pay the fine. So, but I was sitting there thinking, like, how long would like Nick Fuentes last in this country if they start locking people up for the way they speak?
Exactly.
That motherfucker goes off the rails, man. I don't know how he stays platform. What is he on?
Rumble.
I guess so. Rumble. Yeah.
Yep, that's it.
Even that. Yeah, that's it. That's all he can be on. I'm like, that dude goes hard, man. But hey, look, he says a lot of shit a lot of people want to say. I'll put it to you that way.
He does.
I mean,
he does.
he
definitely doesn't have a filter.
No, I've heard his conversations. It's not so much, which I haven't heard all of them. So maybe he is just a racist piece of shit. But I've heard him say that, if you decide you want to live in a certain community, well, so the fuck what? How is that? It is what it is. If I decide I want to live around certain people and don't want to live around other people, that's my right in this country. So why should it be looked at as a negative thing? And I agree. We all move to places that we want to live in for the most part when you have the option. Once you get to that point in life where you can pick and choose where you want to live, well, you do it. You know what I mean? It's what people do. And you always you try to move to a better part of your community or your town. I mean, if it happens to be a certain race is in that part of town, well, so be it. It is what it is,
I agree.
I can tell you now. I mean, I'm not moving to fucking New Orleans, no matter how close I am to it. I'm just not doing it. So you can call that what you want. I don't want to live in New Orleans,
Nope. So, absolutely not. But
anywho, speaking of, what you got?
So we were talking about Glock. A couple weeks ago, right? We're talking about
Yeah.
Glock
Oh,
on
how they
here
were.
and how they discontinued most of their models and kind of started revamping it to lick California's asshole. Somebody has already designed and manufactured a switch for the new
Of
fucking
course they
Glock.
did. Of course they did. You knew that
Already.
they had that shit ready to go from day one, man.
All that fucking bullshit, and somebody already made one.
'Cause it's
I was like,
nothing
that's
but
awesome.
knowing how the firearm works.
That's it.
You know what I mean? That's it. Once you know how everything functions inside of a firearm, it's nothing to designing something to, to combat what they're trying to do. And they know that. I think Glock, people like Glock and all, they go into it knowing that this isn't foolproof, but at least it looks like we're doing our part.
Yeah, well,
I
the
think that's what
whole
it's.
ordeal was California said that they were going to ban Glocks if Glock did not release a pistol that wasn't
Exactly.
able to be
Oh, it's
transformed
supposed to
into a
be.
machine gun.
So it's supposed to be foolproof.
Exactly.
It's impossible. I don't know how you would do that, because like I said, all it takes is somebody who's very educated on the inner workings of that. I mean, you gotta, anybody that knows how to tinker and play with all that shit with firearms, and just anybody that's got a little bit of knowledge on how things work. You can do it. You take the motherfucker apart, you look at it. You got some smart motherfuckers out there sitting in their shed at night, figuring out the goofiest shit they can to fuck with things that they, don't need to be fucking with, but they do it,
Exactly.
So
and I guess they could make it to where it wasn't as easily done,
Right.
by the general public, but they miserably failed with that because it
Well-
looks just like a switch that, I mean, so it's
At the
still an
risk of-
exterior little.
Well, I was gonna say, at the risk of getting the channel in trouble or the stream pulled down, I won't ask you how to do it, but I'm sure you could probably figure it out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
As many firearms as you built. You know what I mean? So, I just don't think that there's any way to really make that where it's just impossible.
There's not. As soon as you learn how sears and just the trigger mechanism works as a whole, it's not very complicated. But making a law that prevents a shotgun manufacturer from producing something that can be turned into a sawed-off shotgun. Exactly. Yes, that's exactly like saying we're banning all shotguns. So, buddy that I don't know what exactly his name is again. So that's like making a law that prevents a shotgun manufacturer from producing something that can be turned into a sawed-off shotgun. So, yeah, it'd be exactly like California saying we're banning all shotguns unless Mossberg puts out a shotgun that cannot be sawed off into a short barrel sawed-off shotgun. And that's exactly what they're saying with the Glock, because it's impossible. It's like, well, we can't stop people from sawing the fucking barrels off a shotgun. It's like,
and they had to know that. It's almost like it's on everybody involved in that. It's optics, to say, hey, we're doing what we can. Even the state, even the state, whoever was behind that shit in California, they got to know better. But it makes it look like to the liberals over there, hey, we're doing our part. We're making these guys manufacture guns that can't be tampered with. And then Glock is like, yeah, we can do that. We're gonna do it. And then, like you said, some guy figures it out, and now what?
I don't get how that helps Glock. Like, there can't be that many Glock sales in California, right? Like, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe California is a #1 Glock fucking state, but I just don't see it being.
Let's find out.
You know what I mean?
Let's pull it up.
To piss off the whole 2A community, where people have completely said, I'm not buying Glocks anymore because they bent it at the knee.
Let's find out. California, man, it's huge, man. They
It
control
is.
so
There's a
much.
lot of money out there, but
well, let's find out. Let's ask Grok here. That's my go-to right now until it becomes a piece of shit. But exact sale figures for specific brands like Glock aren't publicly broken down by state. Well, it should be, because everyone has to be registered. I mean, they make you register, and when you buy them new, at least. But Texas top national gun sales, of course, far ahead of Florida and California. But California's up there in the top 5. So, I mean, apparently people are buying, and everything that's built nowadays, from your cars to, anything, you see it. It's all California compliance,
Absolutely.
Everything. It just lets you know the type of buying power they must have as a state.
Yeah.
Because everything. The way that they start rebuilding these motors on these cars, where now you can't get
They're
a
about
fucking
to
V8 in certain fucking models because they don't make them no more because California.
they're about to redesign train engines to comply with California.
California. Yeah, everything's California. And I'm thinking,
Yep.
I don't live in fucking California. Give me an option. You know,
That's
you go
what
buy
I'm saying.
Yeah,
Like
it's crazy,
there's
man.
49 other fucking states here. You know. Hello.
Yeah, fuck California. Sorry if you're in California, but you know,
I
fuck your state.
think Glock really fumbled because they pissed everybody off right at the height of everybody being pissed off at SIG, right? So the
Yeah.
whole 2A community is pissed off at SIG, not over politics, but just because their P320s just go off by themselves.
Right.
You know, they just shoot bullets while they're in your holster. So, you know, everybody was kind of like, okay, well, I want another hammerless gun. And who's number one? It's Glock. So, okay, fuck SIG, let's go. And then Glock's like, oh no, Cali.
Yeah, it made me want it, like, because that's my daily carry is a Glock.
Yep.
And it made me want to throw it in the safe and get the Smith & Wesson. You know what I mean? But I just like the frame of the Glock, and you know, I'm not a big frame person. So once the Glock came out with that single stack instead of that big ass gaudy double stack, I was like, oh yeah, I'm on board.
Yeah.
You know, so it is out of habit. That's the one I got with me day and night. But you know, once I started hearing that shit, how they were kind of caving to that left, you know, bullshit, I was like, man, what the fuck? You know, it's like almost made me want to sell it, but I was like, I'll give him a chance, man.
I'll never buy one, man.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Gotta carry my
you.
full size Beretta. I love it.
Well, and to me, you're either all in on the Second Amendment or you're not.
Mm-hmm.
There is no, you know, well, we're gonna, you know, be picky and choosy with this shit. It's like you manufacture firearms. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Stay the fuck out of it. Just manufacture your firearms and stop, you know, worrying. Like I said, it's easy for me to sit here, I guess, and say, stop worrying about California. I don't know what kind of money they get coming from California. Maybe they're like, man, fuck you. Like fuck the rest of the country, you know? But then it's like, okay, well, I just don't have to buy your shit no more. I mean, I already have one, so I'm not gonna throw it in the trash like I see some people doing.
Right.
They're like cutting their ARs in half and shit. And I'm like, you dumb motherfucker. At least sell it, you know?
Yeah, like you already paid for it, stupid.
Yeah, you already paid for it.
Don't buy any more, man. Like, yeah, but no, I'm not a hammerless. I've never I don't know. The hammerless pistols never grew on me. I don't.
Yeah.
I like a pistol with a hammer that can be decocked and ready to rock.
Well, speaking of stupid states and guns, I seen they had an elderly guy out in New York. He was sentenced to prison after he killed a career criminal who lunged at him. This was back in 2023. So, you know, apparently he came at this guy. He was 67 years old. Somebody was fucking with him, shot the guy. Now, apparently the shooting was justified because they didn't charge him with fatally shooting the guy. They charged him with unlicensed revolver that he had, the carrying of an unlicensed revolver.
Yeah.
You know, so to live in a state like that where, you know, you go to protect yourself, and rightfully so, apparently, because like I said, they didn't charge the gentleman with murder or anything. So they're saying it's cool that you killed him because he was about to fuck you up, but that gun you were carrying, you didn't have a license on it, you know?
Right.
Like, you know, to me, I guess I'm taking that charge. I'm going to protect myself, but it's just a shame that there's still states like that in this country where you're not just free to carry a firearm to protect yourself from people like this guy did, you know?
Yeah. I mean, especially if you've got nothing that prevents you from owning a firearm, right? If you're not a prohibited possessor, you don't have any domestic violence charges or felonies or, you know, that long list of whatever. But because I mean, I was gonna say, imagine you are a felon that has a gun in the house and somebody kicks the door in, like, you're probably gonna defend your house, right? Now, in that situation, no matter what state you are, you're not supposed to be in possession of a gun, but you wouldn't go to prison for murder.
Yeah. No, and that was with this guy. Like, it wasn't that he was a felon. You know, his only fault was that he lived in New York.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Terrible choice.
And so he wound up taking a plea deal just to avoid a trial where he faced 25 years in prison on the gun charge. That's crazy.
That is
25 fucking
nuts.
years. Now, I'm simplifying it. They said he had a few more guns in his home. So he had unlicensed firearms, which so the fuck what? So do I.
What?
I have guns that I bought secondhand, all in my safe. Now
Yeah.
we can do that over here in Louisiana.
Yes,
it's just how it is. You don't have to sit there and tell the government about every fucking gun that you buy,
Nope.
which is how it should be. But over there in New York, apparently, yeah, let him catch you with one. I mean, this guy was facing 25 years, so he's like, fuck that, dude. I'll just, take what you're going to give me. And I want to say, I'm not mistaken, I thought he got like 4 years in prison or something for that shit.
God.
It's crazy, dude. I mean, just to think that, and to me, apparently this guy was pro-gun, pro-Second Amendment. Like, get the fuck out of those places if you can, If you're that type of person that wants to be able to live with those kind of freedoms, get out of there, man.
Yeah, and, man, I don't know. I guess the process to, like, legally get a firearm over there is such a pain in the ass because, to me, not being a prohibited possessor, right?
Right.
I live a lot of my life on not doing anything to fuck up my gun rights. All right.
Sure.
So for it to be that big of a pain in the ass to go get your license or register a gun or whatever you need to do over there to be worth like fucking up your gun rights entirely just to not register it when you could have legally done it, it's nuts.
Well, because from what I understand, it's so hard in a place like that because they can deny you for whatever reason they feel like it.
Definitely.
Like you have to be a prominent figure or you have to really sell them on the case that, hey, I need a gun. They're like,
yeah, it's
why?
a mega issue state.
Yeah. And it's like, the fuck you mean why? Because I don't want some asshole in the middle of the night, mugging me.
Yep. And self-defense is not.
It's not. Yeah.
It's not good enough.
No, you can't just say because of self-defense. And they're like, well, who are you?
No.
And it's like, so you mean to tell me somebody like a Donald Trump that was living over there was more important than my life? Because he had one. He was able to walk around with a fucking firearm under his damn trench coat the whole time before he was president when everybody loved him and shit. He was over there in New York being Trump and could carry a fucking gun. So why is his life more important than mine? And that's how the state looks at it for some reason. And people, I'm not going to say everybody chooses to be there, but some people just deal with it, and I'm like, fuck you. if I can, I'm getting the hell out. But
I just think if your gun laws are strict enough that you make legal gun owners decide that it's a better choice to put their gun rights in jeopardy than to go the legal route, then you are infringing on the Second Amendment.
Yep. But they don't care because they'd rather you not have them around there, at least law-abiding citizens, because it's the old saying, the only ones that are going to have them are the people that ain't supposed to. You know what I mean? And that's what it always leads to. You take the guns away from people like this guy, and it's just the criminals left with them. So it's the dumbest fucking argument that these politicians make when they want to have these strict gun laws in these states like that. It does nothing. Nothing. You know what I mean? The crime that's been plagued New York over the decades. Now it goes through its ups and downs, so it's not always horrible, but it can get that way. You know what I mean? A lot of it's gun violence. So it doesn't stop a fucking thing. We all know that.
No, it just makes easy targets. It makes easy victims, easy targets. And I mean, I don't know, man. I don't see the thought behind it. The police will protect you. Well, the police show up 15 minutes after the fucking crime's done, right? So after I've taken 2 bullets and lost my wallet and my car keys, now the police show up maybe locate a suspect 1 out of 10 times, Yeah,
it's like, look, don't worry about it. The police will tape off the scene. No, like they'll be to tape off the scene.
You'll get a nice body bag. They'll put you on a decent little stretcher and wheel you off.
That's not a knock on the police. I mean, they can only get there when they can get there. I'm just saying, but you're right. I would rather have that fighting chance before, the police can get to you because you know how that goes. Like you said, they may be fucking 20 minutes out. Call them in New Orleans. Be 3 days later, they're showing up.
Good luck, dude. Yeah, they're just showing up to take,
I was gonna say at as violent as New Orleans can be, at least you're allowed to have a firearm without jumping through hoops. You know what I mean? The average citizen can just go.
Which
I mean, it's
they were even
Louisiana's great
fighting
with
that shit, man.
Of course they were.
When constitutional carry first happened, right?
Of course they were.
It went into effect, I believe, July 4th of this year.
Mm-hmm.
And New Orleans wound up putting a stop on it until August.
So what?
I believe.
What logical reason could you even, let's say you had to play, devil's advocate, and you were trying to give, a reason that they may go through those efforts to try to stop something like that. And when I say they, I mean a Democrat that runs these cities, because that's the ones that are always behind this, trying to stop easy access to firearms from lawful citizens. So what reason could there be that would make any sense at all? Can you come up with anything?
None at all. Zero.
Right.
Zero. I can tell you what they say, but
what is their excuse?
Because making it legal to conceal a firearm without a permit is basically going to put more concealed guns on the streets on bad guys. But I'm like, the bad guys don't give a fuck about your permit or your fucking law, because they're out to commit crimes that are worse than carrying an illegally concealed firearm, right? So,
yeah, so that
I
makes
always
no
say,
sense.
like, if you're on the way to rob a store, you're not worried about the fucking gun charge.
I might get a gun charge, man. I don't know if I want to rob the store.
I don't get it. I don't get it at all.
And
the
they
only
can't
people
be
that are worried
dumb.
about catching a gun charge are the people that are legally walking around with firearms.
Yeah,
that's the people that are worried about it. Everybody else doesn't give a shit.
I refuse to believe any adult is that fucking stupid too. You know what I mean? As far as what they preach, reasons like that.
I'd like to think not, man, because that's
there's got to be something
fucking idiocracy.
That's what I mean. There's something else behind it, man, and I don't know if they want the kind of ruckus and chaos that goes on in these inner cities for some reason, because
and then they scream defund the police at the same time.
Yeah, so they want no police, and the citizens can't carry firearms to protect themselves. That's what I mean. It makes no sense. There has to be some malice intent behind it for some reason.
Like you said, it's exactly what it is we're not going to allow you to defend yourself, right? We're not going to allow that. You can't do it. So you need to rely on the police to defend you. But we're also going to strip funding from the police. So good luck.
It's the oddest thing, dude. It's so crazy, because I try every now and then to say, okay, well, let me see how they're thinking about this. And then it's like, no, I can't come up with any logical reason that would make any sense at all, besides just some bad intentions, and I don't know. It's so hard to wrap your head around and try to make any sense of it. I mean, it's not good for the community that they're running. So why would they want that? I mean, I don't know. I don't know, man, but they continue. It seems to be, it's always some Democrat-run city that's plagued with crime, just violence off the charts, and they make it as hard as possible for a law-abiding citizen to protect herself. It's so dumb, I don't know. I don't get it, but
maybe
somebody out there will be able to explain it to me one day, but I just don't. I don't know how you can ever justify that.
Yeah, I'll never understand it. I've listened to the arguments. I've tried, and I don't get it even a little bit. Not even like I'm pro 2A, like you'll never change but there's not even a logical argument. I'm like, give me something logical, because
I'm willing to listen.
It's just not there. I haven't heard it yet. So
no, I'm willing to listen, dude. I'm willing to listen. I seen some overweight liberal chick, a video I'm watching earlier that, it's as simple as if they would just get all the guns and destroy them all, then that would solve it. That would solve the problem with all the gun violence. So it's these impossible tasks that they come up with, and these utopian, but environments.
But then we would be even if we did do that, then we're going to be in UK shoes, where now we're working on banning knives. Now we need to ban fucking kitchen knives, and everybody gets butter knives, and now we need to ban sticks because you can make sharp spears, and like it just goes down.
That's the problem, that a lot of them don't look that far down, that it doesn't stop at firearms. You know, it doesn't. Now, granted, someone who's either never been a victim, doesn't know a victim, or, you know, lives in some gated community, they don't give a fuck. Take all the guns, take the knives, take the spears, take the rocks, take whatever you can. I don't. Why does it matter? You know, that's the attitude you get. But anybody who's ever seen that shit, or at least pays attention enough and knows that there's a lot of crazy shit that goes on every day around the country. So I would rather have a fighting chance, you know?
Absolutely.
So you start by saying, okay, let's willingly just give up all our guns. It'll make everything safer. Well, then, like you said, they're not stopping there. You know, next it's knives, and then it's, you know, like I said, it'll be slingshots you can't have. And so it's just a dumb argument.
Yeah, I mean, dude, look, they've banned guns and knives in every prison in the United States.
And people get
motherfuckers still get shanked up and stabbed and killed every day. So
how do you know? Maybe that's a lie. You ever been?
Yeah, maybe it's all just false news, you know, false news networks that I'm watching, but every day. And I mean, they literally do everything they can, according to Nat Geo, in a prison to make it so you can't make a knife. And
people are going to find a way, dude. People are going to find a way to do violent things. And for you not to have the right to protect yourself is just, it's ridiculous. That's all there is to it, because people are going to find a way to cause harm to other humans. It's just what we do. You know, it's just how we are. If people just, there's always evil people, or just, you know, people that aren't right in the fucking mind that are looking to inflict harm. And I think every citizen should have the right to protect themselves without jumping through hoops and kissing the government's ass and letting them know every move you're making. So that's why I'm glad down here where we live, it's basically like that, you know. I'm not saying you can just walk into a corner store and buy a gun and just walk out, but it's not hard if you're illegal. You know what I mean? I walk in there, I show them my ID, they do a background check, and within 15 minutes or so, yeah, he's cool. You know, and then if you want to get around that, you just buy one from a private citizen. There's no laws against it. You don't have to fill out anything if you choose not to. It's just private sale. Yep. And I've done that multiple times. I haven't harmed a fucking person. You know what I mean? I have no intentions on ever doing it unless I absolutely have to, and I'm put in that position. So I think everybody should have that right.
Yep.
But anyway.
Buddy with the crazy name said feminists should be the greatest 2A advocates, but they don't think critically. And I think feminists absolutely should be the loudest, biggest 2A advocates in this world.
That's a good point. That's a good point. I mean, it's like, you know, want to protect the women, protect yourself.
Yeah,
pass out firearms.
That's their equalizer, right? Like,
some of them fucking panic and drop
it. You know, I guess. But
give them motherfuckers some mace. Some of them drop it or just don't know what to do with it. But no, honestly, you know, more of them should be encouraged to learn how to use them and protect yourself. Because I'm with you. It may be your only line of defense against a full-grown fucking man that's trying to, you know, do harm. You know, even if he's wearing a fucking wig and in a dress, he's still a full-grown man. So you ought to be able to protect yourself. Speaking of that, did you see the oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
David said, who's had their guns taken away? And I don't know what he's referring to, like as far as in like the USA or the world, because there's multiple countries that had their guns taken. I mean, Canada just recently banned an ass ton of firearms, and you can't even legally transfer them person to person anymore.
I was going to say, this guy in New York just got his taken away, and he's going to prison for 4 years because he defended himself. You know what I mean?
Did.
So
and in red flag states, you can get your guns taken away just by somebody calling and saying,
"That's crazy. Hey, that's nuts, dude.
My brother's having a mental health crisis and he's got guns. Go pick them up."
Yeah.
And I mean, as far as in the U.S. though, I don't think we were really saying that people have gotten their guns taken away. They've gotten their gun rights stripped in places like New York and places like California. But I can't tell you a case where the police have walked house to house within a city and just taken guns. You know, I'm not even
but my
like
thing
we're going there, but
there's a lot of politicians and a lot of state leaders and all that would want it that way if they can have it.
Absolutely they would.
And when you start bending a little bit on these rules, eventually down the line, that's where it gets. You know
Yeah,
what I
because
mean?
that's not
you
where
know,
I'm at, is that they're taking the guns. I'm at, like you're saying, they're taking the gun rights, right? So
yes.
if they don't take the gun rights, they can't take the guns, right?
And it's
Um,
disguised like everything else is. It's all for your benefit. It's for
yeah,
your
yeah,
safety, you know. And it's like, fuck you. I'll deal with my own safety and my family's safety. I don't need you interjecting. But that's how they sell every right they take away from you.
yeah,
Is it's
every
for
time.
your good. Yeah, it's going to be safer this way. We promise.
Yep. Or they try to make you feel guilty for other
S-
people, so they sell
School
it as a
shootings.
benefit of the public, and yeah,
Well,
exactly, saving the
school
kids
shootings.
and
Yeah.
saving. So
That's always a big one that gets me because they like every time there's a school shooting, one of the worst tragedies that can happen. As a gun owner, I can say that, but then you get people like you said, they want to start giving you a guilt trip. Like if you and everybody else would just give up their guns, these things wouldn't happen. These children's lives could have been saved, and it's like that's not the answer. You know what I mean? It's not the answer. It's disgusting. Anytime something like that breaks and you see these innocent children getting slaughtered by some asshole that walks into a school with a gun, I get it. I have sympathy for that. I hate to see it, but to me, it's just not the answer to say, we need to ban all guns, because that's exactly what they jump to. And they jump to that. First, it's need to ban assault rifles, whatever that is, and then it leads down where you start getting the ones that are real crazy, where it's just ban all firearms, and and as sad as it is to see, like I said, shit like that take place where innocent people get slaughtered, it's just not the answer. It doesn't mean I have to go without protection. You know what I mean? And
yeah,
I'm just not willing to give up that right like that. I don't think that's going to change the evilness in the world anyway, just because I give up my guns. They're
nope.
going to find a way to fucking do it.
They will, whether it's guns or homemade explosives or knives, or there's multiple ways. And
We
I mean, there's also been multiple times where I've seen shit like that, and it'll be somebody that's had a record of mental health issues, and those mental health issues never made it from psychiatrists to
right.
authorities, from authorities to FBI, and into the databases, and databases not connected and shit. So
We have seen those
before
cases
we
before. Yeah, I
start trying to
forgot.
pass more laws, why don't
Yeah.
you try to make these databases that were supposed to save the world work like they
Yeah,
were meant
because
to work?
I'm with you. There's been times in different situations where had the laws that were already on the books been practiced, then it would have stopped a certain person from getting a firearm. But like
Yeah.
you said, they slip through the cracks sometimes. Well, there's already a law in place, but this person happened to, like you said, it was one state not communicating with another or whatever
Mhm.
it is. That was a fuck up on their part. So it doesn't mean take the rights away from everybody else. But I don't know. I think people know how we stand now on guns, and I'm surprised YouTube still has us up.
Right before we get away from guns,
No, we don't have to get
it
away.
doesn't have to do with guns, but I guess kind of. Did you see that shooting? It was that white dude shot into a car on the interstate. I thought it was in
Did he?
Texas. I could be
Yes.
completely
He
fucking
killed that
wrong, but
kid?
he killed the kid in a road
Yes.
rage incident,
I
right?
saw that.
And the
Yeah.
internet is back and forth between, some people kind of want to blame the stepfather, right?
Well, but
Because
why? What?
he didn't exit himself from the situation. He participated in the road rage and da
Sure.
da da.
Yeah,
Now,
yeah.
I 100% it's the shooter's fault. It's nobody else's fault but the dude that shot the gun, right? He should be in prison. He's gonna be in prison.
Now
He's
imagine
over
if you're
with,
that
right?
father though, because you're running that in your
Exactly.
mind too. I could have just drove off and got out of that situation. You know what I
Exactly.
mean?
And that's why I've said it here before. We've talked about it. I do not engage with any road rage. I just
I
don't
don't
do
blame
it.
you.
I get in my own lane. I just follow the traffic in front of me and roll with it, because shit like this happens.
Yeah, it's like, especially where we live, I just assume everybody's packing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So why am I going to get in an argument with you over some getting cut off or you not going fast enough and
Some
getting out my
dumb shit.
way to where, you know, I'm risking you pulling a gun or me pulling a gun, and then we're both just dumbasses, you know, and then an
Yeah.
innocent child dies. Because I did see it, man, and you could tell that kid, he knew he fucked up because
he knew it.
He was admitting, I did it. I didn't know there was a kid in the car, but it's like, what are you doing firing in the car?
Yeah, regardless if there's a kid, there's a person in there. You know what I mean? And you're shooting over shit that it matters none. None. This isn't, you know, I mean, it absolutely senseless, pointless.
You talk about
road
fuck
rage.
Your life up, dude. Fuck your life up, all just because you can't control your fucking temper. And he was young, you know. I mean, I want to say he was in his early 20s or something, if not younger. I forget.
Or something
yeah,
like
something like that. I figured that, and you know, at that age, dude, you know he's going at least 20, 25 years. He's done, because it's not like they're gonna get him for, you know, first degree murder or anything, but he's gonna go down. So you done basically ruined your fucking life over a damn traffic, you know, incident. It happens all the time. You see it all the time, man, and to just not assume that somebody's carrying nowadays, man, because like you said, that dad, dude, you got a kid in the car, drive off.
That's
you know
what
I mean.
saying.
And
like,
look, and I'm sure
down,
that's all he's thinking about now, is that I should have drove off. So I'm not the one to sit here and tell him, you know, that, because he knows it. But you know, when you got a child, especially, why would you get in any altercation? Like, just go. It ain't worth it.
Yeah.
You know? But people hot-headed, man. Tempers get the best of some people.
Odo, I don't know how to say his name, but there's more to the story. It came out that the guy was ramming his car, so we will see. And I heard that there had been some contact between cars and whatnot, but that's not how it started. From what I've seen, is they were basically aggressively passing each other and cutting each other off.
That's what I read.
At that point, it's like, okay, I'm staying over here. You go, right? Like, I just don't engage in the road rage, because bad shit happens. People have terrible days and, you know, sometimes make terrible decisions, and it's not worth it. It's not worth it, ever.
No, not at all, man. So hopefully y'all learned something. Listen to us. We know it all. Road rage, just keep going. Look, I get caught up in it, you know, but never to the point of you know, getting out of my car. But it's not like I probably cuss people out on a daily, but to myself, you know.
Yeah.
I'll just in my truck like, this motherfucker, you know, but I'm just not going to sit there and fight somebody over some traffic bullshit, you know, because like I said, I got a pistol on me. I'm just assuming the next person does, and I'm not trying to get into a fucking gun battle. I mean, this ain't TV, you know. Them bullets probably don't feel great, you know.
Steve Seagal out there.
Damn right, dude. Damn right. So, anyway, what else is going on, man? Speaking of lives being taken, we got a touchy one here. I seen Derek Chauvin, you know, the cop that was sentenced for quote unquote murdering George Floyd, you know, a lot of people's hero out there. Man, they're saying they have more than 50 officers saying that the technique he used that they claimed killed him was actually taught in the academy.
Yeah.
So I guess no matter what side of the political aisle you stand on, how do you convict somebody that does what they're trained to do? You know what I mean? Whether
right.
Even if it was wrong. Like, okay, well, they shouldn't have been training. Well, take that up with the fucking
take it up with
office,
the state,
with the department that's training that. If this is true, but there's a lot of, I mean, like I said, there's affidavits coming out saying that, you know, there's over 50 cops in that department saying that that's how we were trained.
Yeah, and I've heard that argument for a while, is that that's how they were, as a technique that they're trained on, that they're told to use, and he did, and you see how that ended up.
Well, yeah, it's I personally, I think he was just a sacrificial lamb. You know, now you'll get people that'll want to, you know, hang me for saying some shit like that, because, like I said, George Floyd is their fucking hero in some places around the country. But I just believe that there was no jury, no judge, anybody with all the ruckus that was going on with that stuff, that, you know, with all them riots, that was going to let this man walk. It just wasn't happening. You know what I mean? He was in the worst situation you can ever be in, because not a single juror wanted to sit there and say, yeah, I was one of the ones that let Derek Chauvin walk. It's like, nobody wanted that heat. You know what I mean? So
no, they didn't. They didn't want the cities burnt down. And then, I mean, as a judge, like, depending on where your judging at, like, you
Yeah.
may not get back in office after that one. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it is a shame though if this man, is in prison for life essentially. If it was something that as a department you were training your officers to do. Now
Yeah.
you're gonna have. I know there's the arguments, with the guy saying I can't breathe. Look, I get it. We followed the case. We all know it. Now there's also the other side that it wasn't the kneeling on him that killed him. A lot of people, some of the experts say he OD'd. So that's an argument for another time. But if they're trying to say the knee on him is what killed him and he was trained to do it, shouldn't that kind of open up, for like a retrial
Absolutely.
or something? I mean, I don't know. I don't know, man.
Absolutely.
But then,
If you're trained to do it as an officer, I mean,
but then it's like,
what else
okay,
do you do? It's like, I didn't know it was going to kill him. They told me to do this,
now say there was a retrial and he was actually acquitted of this. Do you think the chaos would ensue like it did, or you think it's kind of you think it's kind of like it's so like in the past now that people wouldn't have them same emotions? You think
it would fire up?
Yeah, see, that's why I don't think he stands a fucking chance, because I'm with you. No matter what, they could come out and have some kind of proof that he didn't cause the death of Floyd, but nobody wants to sign off on, we let him out. Which, honestly, I was kind of surprised at the Kyle Rittenhouse thing, years ago that he got out on that, because I didn't think any of them fucking jurors either wanted any part of that shit. And thank God,
I didn't think he was gonna.
I just thought he didn't stand a chance. Yeah.
Up until the trial started, I didn't know that he had much of a chance. And then as I started listening to the actual facts of the case.
Well, that's different. That's different because you were judging it by the facts. I'm meaning a juror putting their name behind, we let him off.
Yeah.
I thought they were going to be afraid of the backlash and just say guilty just to say it. Yeah, once you watch the trial, any sane person can see that there's no way they should have charged that boy with murder.
Yep.
You know what I mean? But that doesn't always mean you're going to get off,
That's true.
So that was where I was at with the trial. I was like, man, they're going to say guilty. They're going to say guilty. And look, it's not like I had any skin in the game. I mean, I was just watching it, and after seeing the facts, I'm like, this kid, there's no way he deserves to be in prison.
And the crazy thing about that, though, is had it have not been, in his case, as big of a case as it was, and he got those lawyers that he got, he may be sitting in prison today.
That's true. Had it been like you said, he had some high profile, lawyers that were willing to step up. And it just got so much attention. Sometimes I guess that can work in your favor,
Well, in his case, I think it did because the lawyers kind of reached out to him, right?
Sure.
They were like, look, we'll defend like Kyle Rittenhouse. This is bullshit, right? So if it didn't get the publicity it got, there's a fairly good chance that he's sitting in prison today.
Yeah.
Waiting on a release date, which it's nuts that's the way the justice system works, but
it does
every day.
It does. Yeah.
Matt says Chauvin is out. He's been out. He's at home with his family.
Is that what Matt said?
That's what he said.
Well, Matt, that's breaking news.
You heard it here first, guys.
Chauvin is no longer in. No. Well, what was the other one? The Michael Brown case where that cop got off.
That was the candy bars, huh?
Yeah, that was where the whole, hands up, don't shoot or whatever shit that he never fucking said. It was just all lies. He was in the damn car beating the shit out of the cop, and he put some fucking slugs in him, and the rest was history. But he got off too. So
yeah.
But anyway, well, I was hoping. When I first read the headline, I was like, man, the guy's trying to take over an island, and I'm thinking, is Justin involved in this shit? That's some crazy shit you and your friends will do. But then it got very twisted, But anyway, there's two guys in Texas, apparently trying to had this amazing plot to take over a damn island. I don't know if you read about that, a small Haitian island.
No.
And they were gonna try to kill the men so they can enslave the women and kids as their sex slaves. Now,
oh no, that wasn't me.
How that went wrong, I don't know. I mean, it sounds like a great plan.
It's foolproof,
so
dude.
Stupid, but there you go. You got two guys, okay, two of them that think the same way, that
Yeah.
wake up in the morning and say, this is our best course of action today. We're going to go try to, kidnap all these people in this foreign country or whatever and carry out these crazy ass fantasies. I'm like, what in the fuck? That headline was the weirdest. Like,
so how far into this plan did they get? I mean,
let's see. Let's see. The pair undertook numerous overt acts in furtherance of their invasion plan, including making operational and logistical plans, even learning Haitian Creole, so they were learning the language. One of them enrolled in the North Texas Fire Academy to learn command and control protocols. They traveled to Thailand they were all in on this shit. Thomas even enlisted in the U.S. Air Force to acquire military skills needed for the murderous takeover. That's what the feds are saying. Let's see. He changed his initial station assignment in Germany to Andrews Air Force Base in Maryland to be close to potential homeless recruits in the D.C. area. So apparently he was going to go over there with a bunch of homeless people, and they were going to take over.
Start a homeless cult, take over an island.
Oh my God, dude! Imagine coming up with this, or one of your boys like approaching you with this plan, and then you're like, "Dude, let's do it."
Did they live in a trailer park by chance?
I think they did. Yeah,
there has to be a trailer park involved. Some shake and bake meth.
I'm trying to see how they got caught. Let's see.
That's what I'm wondering. Like, who did they tell?
Well, they face up to life in prison. They separately face up 30 years and at least 15 because they got child porn shit going with them too. I mean, there's all kind of crazy shit. But yeah, I was trying to see how the plan was thwarted. Let me see. Bear with me.
Yeah, that's
plan to purchase a sailboat, firearms, and ammunition, then recruit members of the Washington, D.C. homeless population to serve as mercenary force as they invaded the island. Oh, my God,
dude. It's amazing that they had it all planned out, to that extent, though.
Yeah,
honestly.
Joining the fucking military and shit, just to learn different things. I'm like, how long have they been planning this shit?
Not many people that stick to their goals like these two
No,
men.
dude. Imagine if they'd applied that in, starting a fucking business, you know? It's like, damn.
Literally anything else.
Yeah, anything else that's legal, you know? Anything. But it's just amazing that there's two people that are that fucked up in the mind, and they find each other. Like, how?
Every time.
Hey, that's true. Yeah, every time. You know, it's weird. It's like, how do you even find somebody as nuts as you, and then how do you broach that topic with somebody, and not feel like, oh, I can't say this. You know, they're gonna think I'm fucking crazy. Like,
I don't know if that's a good one to ease into, or do you just break the ice? Or
so, what do you think about it?
Do you like islands?
Oh, it's so nuts, dude. I don't know. Like I said, that's another one with the, the just people that go on serial killers. I mean, it's always about wondering the fascination of what the fuck's going on in your brain. I would love to sit down with these two idiots. I want them on the show. I'll put them on the show just so I can ask them, what the fuck, man? How do you get to this point in life?
Yeah.
How do you make
this plan start?
Well, how do you make it to 20 years you've lived? Apparently normal, just able to exist in society. And then all of a sudden, after 20 years, this is what you come up with. Where the fuck did this start? You know what I mean?
How did we get here? That's what I want to know. How did we get here?
People blow my mind, dude. But, gives us something to talk about, so.
Yeah, but, man, what do you do once you, okay, they get the boat, they get their homeless mercenaries, right? Train them up. They get over there, sail over there, they hit the island, take over, just finishes, right? Now what?
What do you mean now what?
Do they just think nobody's gonna find out? Dude, nobody's gonna come?
Look, first of all, there was only 100,000 people on the island. So that, that's nothing. You just get through them 100,000 people quick, So
with a few DC homeless mercenaries.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It sounds like a great plan. It sounds like a real good plan. And it's once they start involving children and all that shit, because apparently, like I said, there's some kind of child, porn shit or something they were charged with too. Yeah, these motherfuckers need to go. They need to go for life. Just lock them up. They sound like they're fucking useless and, just don't need to be breathing the same air we breathe. So.
Absolutely useless unless you need a fucking plan to rob a bank or something drawn out for you. But
dude, because I'm with you. They are committed, you
yeah,
know. But try to be committed to something a little more, I don't know, realistic maybe and legal.
try to help society or yourself at least or something, and
Yeah. Now, let's end the show on this one. Apparently, there's a problem going on around the world where people are sticking high pressure air hoses up other people's asses, and it's killing them. They're blowing their insides up. And a boy is 15 years old. He just recently passed away from that, of what they're calling a prank. And then I started reading into it, and it's not a one-time thing. There's other people that have been arrested for this and charged with, manslaughter, murder, whatever, for playing jokes in these workshops, I guess, where they're like, hey, look, an air hose. And then somehow they get you in a position where, it goes where it don't need to be going. And I'm like, what? I don't even, how is that even? I don't know. I can understand maybe walking up behind your boy and kind of shooting, squirting him with some air, fucking around. But the last thing I want to see is another man butt naked so I can shove something up his ass. I don't understand that prank that people play, and because it's not just with this. You hear about it with hazing, and whether it be college, sports, these guys get hazed, and it's always got something to do with them being butt naked.
it does.
And I'm thinking, why? What are we doing?
Because, all right. So I work in a shop. We've got multiple air hoses, air sprayers.
Okay.
Just a bunch of men. I've never once had the impulse to shove any of the air hoses in any of my coworkers' asses. Not once.
You know what I mean?
Anything.
No air hose, my finger, nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Not once, not one time, not even a little hey, that'd be funny. Nothing.
Oh man, a teenage wood shop apprentice. They said it was, that high pressure air hose shoved up his rectum as a horrific prank. The latest incident in which the power tool has killed a young man. And this is just the latest one. The dark jerk. The joke turned deadly Friday when so and so and his friend allegedly overpowered him, tied his hands, and decided this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna stick this up his anus. Of course, that caused severe internal organ damage. I'm sure they just explode when you do that. But,
that's
like
a little
I said,
past the joke.
And it happened apparently back in 2023. A 16-year-old died from the same thing. Co-worker, decided this will be funny. A 21-year-old allegedly grabbed the hose on his cleaning machine and shoved it into the teen's hole. And boom, killed him. 2017 happened again. Somebody thought it'd be funny. I just can't even think of a situation I'd be in. For one, where I want to just disrobe a man to play a prank, and then to actually go as far as trying to stick something in a fucking hole. I don't know. But look, we'll just file that one away too, that we'll never understand because we're just not that fucked up in the head.
Yeah, because I actually, since we're talking about disrobing men, I saw a case. Some dudes got arrested. Some gangsters got arrested. Maybe last week or so. Right? They went to the op's house and knocked on the door looking for said op. Well,
Right.
Buddy wasn't at the house, but his roommate or his 17-year-old roommate was there. I don't know if they were in an apartment or renting a house together. Anyway, roommate was there. He answers the door. Well, they kidnap the op's roommate, right? Get him on Facebook Live. They're recording video on Facebook Live, strip him butt naked, and at gunpoint make him twerk butt naked on Facebook Live.
That's funny though. Sorry.
Now they released him. He lived. Nobody was hurt.
Well, it's all good.
They're
fun.
in prison. Now they're arrested for kidnapping and illegal guns. But I'm like, what what makes you want to
Yeah.
strip I guess a kid, grown man, he's 17, man down naked,
I guess it's
and
the most
then make him
humiliating
twerk
thing.
for you, but you have to watch it.
That's what I was gonna get at. I guess it's to humiliate him, but it's like I could probably think of some other ways than watching his shit flop around everywhere.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's just odd to to think that this is, of all the things I can do, this is what I want to do. Let's get him naked.
Yeah.
So which one wants to brought up that, and you're looking at your boy like, what? Like, yeah, let's get him naked, make him shake his ass.
Yeah, exactly. Like you drive in the
Okay.
car and it's like, all right, guys, what do we do? Like, man, I think we should just maybe bring him to the ATM. We can get some money. And
No.
John,
No. Yeah, what if we make him take his pants off? Get this, and then we make him twerk.
Man. That's fucking nuts, dude. And then I want what would they have done if the actual op was there? Like that's what they did to his roommate, the guy they were looking for.
Yeah.
Imagine if he was home. Jeez.
I'd probably gang raped him. I don't know.
Ooh, man.
As far as they're going with this shit nowadays,
it's nuts.
So I don't know.
I got one last one, and because it involves a shop. Did you see that woman? So she was working in a fab shop. It was a young blonde chick. And one of her coworkers just walks up behind her and smashes her in the head with a hammer. Kills her in the shop while they're all working. And I mean, coworkers said that they had never talked like to each other. They never had any kind of beef. Nothing. And basically his excuse to the police is he just did not care for this woman. He didn't like her.
I mean, I don't even know what other option did he have?
Right. I was just like, Jesus. There's no forewarning to it. There was nothing. He just was like, fuck it. Walked up behind her, popped her right in the head.
It's just nuts, dude. You got deranged people like that are just walking around every day.
Yeah.
And you just never know when they're going to snap.
Have no clue.
You know what I mean? Never know.
Shit like that. Like nothing set him off. You know what I mean? It was just he just had that idea popped in his mind, and he was like, "Today's the day."
A sledgehammer too.
Yeah,
that's what I was just reading. A woman.
You got it pulled up.
Yeah, identity not publicly released, was found dead at her workstation at Advanced Process Technologies with severe head trauma. 40-year-old coworker David Bruce, piece of shit, from Minnesota, allegedly grabbed a sledgehammer from her workspace and struck her multiple times. Surveillance footage, I love allegedly, it's on camera.
Yeah.
Surveillance footage captured him approaching her station and swinging the tool out of view. DeLong reportedly admitted to a witness saying, "I hit her with your hammer. She is by your toolbox." He claimed he didn't like her. First responders tried to save her, but she died at the scene. This appears to be a targeted workplace dispute. The case is under investigation. Witness statements and videos, key evidence. Huh. Yeah, well, I guess he had a bad day. She had an even worse one, man. That's terrible, though. That's terrible. Anyway, well, if you tuned in, we appreciate it. Y'all hit that subscribe button if you hadn't done it already. We'll be back probably Friday. We might get on here and bullshit a little bit. Figured it'd be a slow night tonight. I know the holidays are around. People got better things to do than listen to us. But no, we do appreciate y'all checking it out. And we'll be back, like I said, Friday. If not, it'll be next Wednesday. We're going to try to get on here Friday. Y'all subscribe. Get them notifications on so you know when we're going live. And we'll be back at it soon. Y'all be good.